How you doing, YouTube? Matt with Massive Beer Reviews. Back with another review. A little bit of homebrew, hopeful goodness in the form of Steve Licht. He sent me this and his closing arguments. It's a Belgian style triple. Conditioned, brewed by Steve Licht, 8.2%. There you go. A little homebrew action. Sent me off two beers. Sent me off this, and he sent me off another one. It was a stout, kind of aged on chips, things like that. So, all right, thank you very much, brother. Can't wait to dive into it. Nothing to say. You see the white label. You asked me to decant the beer. You know, listen, I'll give it a gentle pour. Won't worry about getting too much sediment in there. We'll see what happens. So, I don't really do the whole decanting thing all that often with beer. Sometimes you got to do it some kind of sours, more Belgian style stuff. But if you're careful enough when you pour the beer, and this beer's been sitting upright on its own for a while now, and I don't pour the whole beer into the glass anyway, we should be good to go. Hopefully I did you right, Steve. What do we have here? Gravity defying creaminess on a super gentle pour, infinite creaminess, super tight compact bubbles, and man, that looks like champagne right there. Very soft haze to it, and this nice kind of aggressive snow globy kind of carbonation going on. So yeah, she's pretty beer, man. Reminds me very much of champagne. Let's put it that way. See him get a nose. Soft malts, a little bit of maybe a slightly kind of funky yeastiness in a good way. I'm getting like wine vibes from it. I'm getting like a vinousness out of it. That's pretty much it. Not much impact. Nothing as far as bitterness. Not really much as far as sweetness in the nose. Very neutral. Just a little bit of that yeast drivenness. Like a pop of like a caramel thing in there. Maybe I'm having a stroke or something. But yeah, very soft, very gentle, and definitely getting that kind of vinousness thing that I was talking about. But everything's very small, very gentle. So, gonna dive in. Cheers. That's a good beer. That's a good beer. Dangerous, but very, very true to like classic old school, not too weirdo triple style. I'm getting a soft, like banana vibe off it, and sometimes I get that off triples. Getting a soft banana vibe off of it. Beautiful carbonation. Really nice mouthfeel. Gentle, soft. Very soft, delicate beer. It's 8.2%, so it's a larger ABV beer. But at the same time, it just reeks of kind of fragility. It doesn't seem like too big of a beer while you're drinking it, but at the same time, you get a little bit of kind of like this rosy feel to your cheeks, so you know you're dealing with something that has a bit of heft to it. Yeah, it's tasty, it's nice. It's very kind of old school classic triple style. This is a really well done. It's one of the better homebrew Belgian beers I've actually had. The other stout, the stout that I did from him, there's carbonation was a little bit down for me, and it was a nice stout. It just kind of was a little herky jerky. This one is a bit more kind of deft touch, a little bit more refined. In a perfect world, getting like a little bit of that funky yeastiness now. It's kind of almost like Saison, and it has a little barnyard thing going on there. Wonder what kind of yeast to use. Steve will probably chime in on it. But yeah, it's he actually wrote me a note, so maybe it's in there. I don't know. Anyway, it could use a little bit of. I want everything in it just to be dialed up a notch. I don't want it to be a huge screaming at you beer. I like the delicateness of it, but I just want it, turn it up. If this is on a scale from 1 to 10 volume wise, if this is a 3, I want it at 3.2, 3.3. Or nitpicking here, but when people send you homebrew, they ask you what you think, and I'm telling them exactly what I think, in that it's tasty, it's delicious, it's one of the better Belgian beers that I've had, but in order to really kind of bring it home, one of the better Belgian homebrews that I've had. Didn't say that part. We'll just be kind of eking out a little bit more vibrance from the flavors that are already there. Clean, crisp, well made. I dig it. Now, what do we do from here? Let's see how the beer changes. You have to do it. You have to do it. Oh, he's going to kill me for doing this. But so, what a lot of times if you go to Belgium, and they'll actually give you a shot glass of the little bits and pieces of the beer at the bottom. A lot of people don't do that. You drink it. Rarely do they mix it in there, but I just wanted to see what kind of density and what kind of bits and pieces he had floating around at the bottom and see how it actually changes the beer. It's not bad at all. I actually doesn't really even change the beer all that much. It's just as a home brewer and as someone that's trying to make beer, dryness. You're getting a little bit more of that kind of yeasty dryness, which is expected. He wanted that clarity to come through. That's why I know he wanted me to decant it. And it came through beautifully. So, I mean, this stuff is in your beer. So, you know, a lot of people out there post pictures of their IPAs and have little floaties in it and they go, ew, what is this? Listen, don't be afraid of that shit. This is fine. I'm going to drink this beer. I'm going to let it sit for a little bit, settle a little bit, but I'm going to drink this beer. There's nothing wrong with it. Sometimes you can make a beer taste a bit different. Here you get a bit more of that kind of dryness from the yeast. It's not going to do you harm. Just don't be afraid of the yeast, baby. So yeah, I mean, I don't do the whole thing rating-wise with homebrews. I just say, thanks for sending it, man. I appreciate it. It's tasty stuff. Like I said, one of the better Belgian homebrew beers that I have, especially on the lighter side of things. And yeah, thanks for thinking of me. I appreciate it. Appreciate sending both of the beers off. I don't know if I'm going to post these. I may not at some time, but you'll definitely see it. So if people see this, then there you go. Steve, Licht, how about that? For you to see it, Steve, then thank you very much, brother. I appreciate it, and hopefully you enjoyed it. See you next time. Cheers.